Back at it again. And as always, right on time. What's up, everybody? Hey, guys. Guy here. It is Thursday afternoon. The 49ers practice today. I was not there. They will practice again on Friday. I will be there. Had a busy week, which I'll tell you about later. But for right now, I want to talk about one of my favorite topics. I don't say that sarcastically. I mean it sincerely. What is the correct opinion on Brock Purdy? Is Brock Purdy really good? Is he going to be good? I saw today, why am I talking about this today? Because I saw somebody tag me, or somebody sent me a DM, a clip of Nick Wright. And Nick was talking about Brock Purdy. And Nick said that he thinks that Grant Cohn's coverage of Brock Purdy skews negative, and David Lombardi, Grant Cohn of Sports Illustrated and YouTube, and David Lombardi of The Athletic and YouTube skews too positive. And then he said, quote, I think it's going to be really hard to get right down the middle, right? Trying to figure out what the correct opinion of Brock Purdy is. And I disagree. It's not hard at all. In fact, the good news is you're in the right place because I have the correct opinion on Brock Purdy. Here's the thing. It's not going to get easy to have universal agreement on Brock Purdy anytime soon. But I know enough to say that the test isn't over yet. Hell, the test isn't over for Josh Allen, for Lamar Jackson, for Justin Herbert, for Jalen Hurts. And those four quarterbacks have signed contracts which total over $1 billion. So if you're tired of debating Brock, bad news, we're nowhere near the conclusion. This argument doesn't end if he's the Super Bowl MVP this year. I hate to tell you, but it doesn't. So the thing that is hard about Brock is that it's hard to put the correct opinion in a box because the correct opinion on him has parts of both opinions, as is usually the case on Brock. Here's what I view as the disputable maybe, but the facts, a loose term on facts, but this is the facts as I see them on Brock Purdy. He's been exceptional. Whether he was picked 262 or picked 2, he's been successful. So he hasn't just been successful for the last pick. He's just been successful. At 24 years old, he's ahead of 99.9% of the 24-year-old quarterbacks that have played in the NFL. I think there's no better place for him to be than with Kyle Shanahan. What does he have? Okay. He has very good processing, accuracy, toughness, leadership, all required traits combined with useful athleticism. What does he lack? He lacks plus arm strength, and that is the single greatest threat to his longevity that exists. His arm is that significant of a flaw to greatness. The reason it's so significant is because it requires him to be excellent, not okay, not solid, not pretty good, but excellent at decision-making, accuracy, and anticipation. It has been done before, or to quote Lou Brown from Major League, it has been done before. Something like that. I could use a redo, but I'm not going to get it. Joe Montana did it. Drew Brees did it. They are exceptions to the rule. So if Brock Purdy is going to be a great quarterback, if he's going to be a franchise quarterback, not great for a year, not great for a game, maybe if he's going to be 10 years back, you go, holy smokes, that's one of the most valuable quarterbacks in the NFL, then he's going to have to be the exception to the rule. By the way, all the guys that are great quarterbacks are exceptions to the rule for a variety of reasons. Now, if you are an exception to the rule, you don't get to prove that you're an exception in one playoff game or 2 playoff games or in 1 year or even in 2 years. Well, we know after this year if Brock Purdy can carry a team. Well, not to most people's satisfaction. No, in all likelihood, we will not. Will we know this year if he's improved? Yes, we will. That'll be important. As long as he keeps improving, then the Niners championship window is open. Will he be worth the biggest contract for a quarterback in the NFL by the end of this year? Maybe. Odds are no. Odds are if he were to get it, then he'd have to keep improving just to justify it. Some of you will hear that stuff about his arm as negative feedback on Brock. But the basic opinion is this. You cannot prove that you're a great quarterback in a year. I don't even think you can do it in a couple of years. You may not even be able to do it in 3 years. But I know this. When I watch TV, I see a lot of car ads. And a lot of the car companies love saying they won some J.D. Power award. I heard about J.D. Power over and over and over again. I had no idea who or what J.D. Power was for a long time until I finally looked it up one day. And today I thought of J.D. Power again. Because I thought, how long does J.D. Power need before it declares a car the most dependable? And the answer is 3 years. 3 years. Here, let me read to you from the J.D. Power website. Dependability ratings are based on consumer insights after 3 years of ownership. The following 3-year-old models rank the highest in reliability and represent the J.D. Power 2023 award winners for most dependable cars. We've got the 2020. Now, this part it's just fun to share. We've got the 2020 Toyota Sienna in the minivan category. We've got the Chevy Silverado. We got the GMC Sierra 1500. And in the compact premium category, we've got the BMW 4 Series. A little bit of a surprise there. The other thing that was interesting when I looked at the J.D. Power awards is like, here we go. The highest quality car. That's one of their awards. Small SUV category, the 2023 Buick Encore. The premium sporty car, the Chevy Corvette. The upper midsize premium SUV, the Cadillac XT6. And the midsize sporty car, the 2023 Chevy Camaro. Now, let me repeat, these are the highest quality cars, award winners. Okay. I don't know a lot about cars. I know enough to know that there is not a chance in hell that the 4 highest quality cars in their respective categories are whatever the Buick Encore GX is, the Chevy Corvette, the Cadillac XT6. The Cadillac's made some sweet cars. The overwhelming highest quality cars are the Chevy Camaro is one of the highest quality cars you can get. That seems wrong. Let's see. How do they do quality ratings? Oh, here we go. Let's highlight it. Quality ratings are based on consumer insights during the first 90 days of ownership. Not long enough. 90 days is not long enough. So what's the lesson here from J.D. Power? If you do a short-term test, you're going to get answers that are pretty questionable. Your best chance is to do a long-term test. 3 years is what they view as long-term. And honestly, when it comes to quarterback, that's probably not long enough. But it just goes back to all the stuff I said about Brock. There's a lot of really good stuff. The thing that most holds him back is his arm strength. I've watched him up close throw 1,000 balls. Like, true. I mean, probably. I've watched plenty. I just got back from a USC football practice on Tuesday and an Oregon football practice on Wednesday. I've watched a ton of quarterbacks up close. I've watched them on TV just like you have. The arm strength is the thing that requires him to be so good at all the other stuff. And it just makes his margin for error even thinner. But I don't think there's a lack, to go back to Nick Wright's original point, I don't think there's a lack of that opinion on Brock. I think I'm Goldilocks when it comes to Brock. When it comes to a lot of opinions, everybody does think that about themselves, which is you got it just right. But I don't think that it's, I don't think that opinion I just gave is a unique opinion on Brock, actually. I think it's probably the most commonly held opinion, which is based like, yeah, he's been really good, but I need to see more. Think about this. Who is one of the biggest complimenters of Brock Purdy? It's Kyle Shanahan. If you listen to Kyle Shanahan talk, he talks about Brock very highly. Now you go, well, most coaches talk about their guys very highly. He sprays compliments on Brock Purdy and about Brock Purdy. But make no mistake, if Brock Purdy's not as good as he was last year or a little bit better than he was last year, then Kyle Shanahan's opinion can change too. And if you don't think Kyle Shanahan's opinion would change with new information, you're wrong. Kyle Shanahan's opinion would definitely change with more information on Brock Purdy. There's some other stuff. There's some other pieces I want to introduce to this. Okay. Actually, let's continue on here because I think there's some more elements to this. And by the way, I see anytime I bring up an opinion of Nick Wright, I see a lot of comments like Nick Wright. A lot of hate for Nick Wright. You're not going to get hate from Nick Wright from me. You're not. I don't agree with all of his opinions, but as someone who has done like daily radio for multiple hours a day, I'm here to tell you, I think he's one of the best I've ever seen. Like having, maybe you disagree, but having thoughtful opinions every day is challenging. Being entertaining, that's what it is. It's entertainment. He's entertaining. Now I'm going to play something which I think it's hard to be a national opinionator because you don't get to see it. You got to kind of take a bunch of pieces, especially this time of year. It's one thing when the games start and everyone has access to all of it. But I want to go back to something Nick Wright said a couple of weeks ago against Brock. And I want to go through it kind of piece by piece because a couple of things I think he's there's some spots where I would say I don't think that's the case, and there's some spots where I'm like, yes. And he actually ends it with something that I think nails it on Brock. But let's go to that now. Roll the tape.
Silver, where he says he wants to change the way he's playing. Sure. Again, not a direct quote, I'm paraphrasing. Where we have a lead. He gives an interview with Mike Silver where he says he wants to change the way he's playing. Sure. Again, not a direct quote, I'm paraphrasing. Where we have a lead, and instead of being careful, go for the jugular. Where I took it as chasing Tom Brady being like, I want to be like Tom was. Not chasing him for 7 Super Bowls and 3 league MVPs. I want to be more Tom Brady-ish. That interview happens. He then has a practice where he throws a hat trick of him.
I want to pause the video for a second and say this. Brock said after the fact, because I went back and read the Mike Silver quotes. They're not like a big paragraph from Brock from what I saw. Brock said a couple days later, what I was talking about was really there were a lot of possessions last year where we didn't stay on the field, where our drives would end because I did something wrong. And what I want to be like Tom in that, like I don't let a team off the hook in that way. We don't keep teams in games because I do something wrong. So anyway, let me continue on here. I will continue on. Now he's talking about practice interceptions. But this is from a couple weeks ago, okay? This was a storyline a couple weeks ago.
Interceptions, and I show you guys the tweet from Jimmy Garoppolo's practice 5 years ago when he threw 5, and you guys were like, well, he didn't throw 5. And then yesterday when I was gone, we find out that after starting 7 of 7, on the next 8 throws he has, 4 are picked, 2 are dropped picks, 1 is a dump off to use check, and 1 is an incompletion. So a couple drop picks away from 6 interceptions, which maybe would have made you concerned, maybe not. I don't know.
I'm going to pause it there. Okay. Well, here's what I'm going to add. Now you're talking, I am a guy, for those of you who don't know this, or maybe you do remember, but I'm a person who last year graded camp throws. So I'm not here to tell you none of it matters because I graded camp throws. But the reason I graded camp throws is not because I thought 6 throws mattered. It's because I was like, all right, I think Sam Darnold's better than Trey Lance, but let me grade it and find out at the end of 3 weeks, what does the data say? I gave it the GFF grading, Guy Football Focus. It does share mysteriously the same formula is PFF grading. But anyway, so I'm not here to say practice throws don't matter. But I was at the practices that he was talking about. They were they were irrelevant. You know, saying there's 6 or there's 5 or like they're different. They're weird. Some of them mean nothing. Some of them mean something. At the end of a season, a guy throws 16 picks. Now we can have a conversation. But okay, so I disagree with using that here. But he's trying to build an argument. I make arguments that sometimes one part of it isn't as strong as another part of it. That part of this is not strong. But he's going to finish with something I agree with.
So I think Brock Purdy is the most interesting player in the league this year. Because if he does try to be something he's not, which is prove to the world, I ain't no bus rider, I'm a bus driver, it'll kneecap the Niners. And if he just plays within colors inside the lines, as I think he has very well, better than Jimmy Garoppolo did for this Niners team, we are going to probably have a lot of the same debates we had.
All right. I agree with that last point. If he tries to be something he's not, this applies to a lot of quarterbacks. If he tries to be something he's not and turns out that he's not, then it could be a problem for them, right? If he's like, all right, you know what? I can make even more plays and that turns into interceptions, then it's a problem. Where is the fine line for him? I don't know. We might find out. Maybe he pushes the envelope more this year. Maybe it works, right? I think with young quarterbacks, as time goes on, and Brady's an example of a lot of things, but then he's not a good comparison for a lot of people. But Brady's a good example of, as time went on, he did more, pushed the envelope more. It succeeded, and so he did more, and then he did it again, and he pushed the envelope again, and it worked. It doesn't always work for everybody to push the envelope. We don't know yet for Brock how much he can push the envelope. My premise is the arm strength makes it a challenge to push the envelope more. But if he's smart enough to do it, if he's accurate enough to do it, he can do it. He can push the envelope more. But he's got to be right about what his abilities are, pick his spots, and pick them correctly. I think what's really interesting about Brock, in fact, I think the most insightful thing that Brock Purdy has ever said, and this year he's said a lot of insightful things, by the way. I think some people think he doesn't say insightful things. Brock says some insightful things. This actually applies directly to what Nick Wright just said. The most insightful thing that Brock has ever said, he said to Tim Kawakami a couple weeks ago. Now, I played some of the clips from that interview. I did not play this. I think this gives us an incredible window into Brock Purdy's brain. You're going to hear Tim ask a quick question, and then you'll hear Brock's answer. Listen. Roll it.
Yeah, that this offense might fit you pretty well. And not only that you might fit this offense pretty well.
Man, I think pretty early on, just learning. I think my rookie year in camp, just how everything tied together, man. Like every play has a certain drop back and timing and certain hitches to routes and concepts. I loved it, and I love it. I still do. Because just the way that I think, everything that I do in life, just everything has to time up right and well. And so when we go into football, learning this offense, I'm like, shoot, like this allows me to be on time. If I get this coverage, I'm going to take this second hitch backside, and it just times up well, and it's consistent, and that's what I love. And so it sort of has given me some rules and guidelines to playing quarterback, but at the same time, like there's opportunities where I can still be myself and scramble drills or on the run and play action pass. Like I can still have some freedom with how I play, not just so robotic, but I'm the kind of guy that I need those guidelines on what to do, and it helps me be efficient. I think if you can play and run our offense of how Kyle and Greasy coach it, and you look back, like you can be such an efficient quarterback. And I think that's what coming down to playing NFL quarterback is all about. If you can be efficient, make the right decisions over and over, and keep your team on the field, you're going to win a lot of games doing that. And so my rookie year in camp, just learning this offense, I was like, oh, shoot, like this is pretty nice.
All right. Okay. That was incredible. The way I think about it is everything has to time up well. It allows me to be on time. It's consistent. That's what I love. He's talking about Kyle's offense. It has given me rules and guidelines. And there's kind of some opportunities in there where I can have some freedom with how I play, but I'm a guy that needs those guidelines. Talk about, I think one of the hardest things for a young person, and I learned this lesson myself, is understanding how you think and how you learn. For me, it took me a long time to figure out where my deficiencies are, where I have to work harder to make sure that I have the information in my brain that I need when I need it, and that I can access it in an efficient way. Okay. And this lesson came from me. So I'll be specific. Me practicing play-by-play broadcasting, which is one of my other jobs. One of the other things I do. It's all part of the same whatever. But I would do a bunch of work. I would prepare. I would make my preparations, and the game would start. I'd do the game, and after the game, I'd look at the big board that I'd built, and I'd go, God, all that work, I didn't use it efficiently. And it was a silly thing at the time, but I realized, like, oh, just putting all my notes out didn't automatically make them stick in my brain. I had to study them again, or I had to write them in a way that would make sense to me when I read them quickly, when I only had a split second to look down. Right. I would need it to pop into my brain and then come out of my mouth very quickly. And it took me a long time to figure it out. Well, here is a guy who understands how he learns, understands what he needs. That does not sound like a player who's about to overextend himself trying to be something that he's not. So he's got this, he's trying to walk the fine line, which everybody, I think if you're going to be your best self, best performance self in sports, you probably have to walk of like, how do I push the envelope, but also stay disciplined? How do I do the things that give me and my team a chance to be great, but also stick to my fundamentals? Like, that's what everyone's trying to figure out, and whether or not he can execute it over time. You know what I love to say? I invented this one. Actually, I had some help. I invented the greatest, the most invisible superpower is consistency. And then we amended it thanks to a listener who said, no, the most invisible superpower is invisibility. I'm like, okay, that's a good point. So the most invisible superpower is invisibility. The second most invisible superpower is consistency. You can't see it in 6 months. You can't see it in a year. You got to see it over 5 years. If Brock is still doing this stuff in 5 years and he's making $200 whatever million and the Niners are still competing for Super Bowls, then we'll have less debates about this. But anyway, I thought the question about whether it's hard to get the truth, how is Brock really performing? It's not that hard. It's not that hard. To me, it's pretty clear when you see it, but you also have to zoom out and go, we've got a couple of the data points. We don't have them all yet. What comes next is going to write the story about Brock Purdy. What he's done to this point is amazing. It's amazing for pick 262. If he was the second pick, so far we'd go, wow, that was probably a good pick, right? This is trending in the right direction, but the story's not written yet. The story's not done yet. So I want to respond to a couple of your takes, especially this one. B. Lauren on YouTube says, you're overblowing his arm strength. His ball speed is 56 miles an hour. Mahomes is 62. It's a false take. I don't know what to tell you. If you're going to rely on the miles per hour, I don't know what that data is. I don't know who threw it the hardest. I'm just telling you, it's not just about velocity either, right? Like rolling to the wrong side, turning the hips quickly, getting to make a late decision. That's what when we're talking about the arm strength, we're talking about making up for mistakes and being able to make late decisions, right? Not having to throw as much with anticipation. And Mahomes statistically, often when I look at him statistically, it doesn't match up with the guy that we see. For example, Patrick Mahomes led the league in the percentage of his throws. Nobody had a bigger percentage of their throws come behind the line of scrimmage than Patrick Mahomes last year. Do any of you watch Patrick Mahomes and go, check down Charlie, Can't get the ball down the field. Can't be trusted. No, nobody thinks that. They go, oh, there must be some more to this puzzle. So Brock's arm is good enough. Is it good enough for him to be a great quarterback? Yes, it is. He does not have a weak arm, but he doesn't have a plus arm. And a plus arm, it's why Herbert gets so many. It's why everyone's now height too, physicality. Josh Allen, like the plus arm allows you to not be as, I think Favre's a great example. He famously, everything was off schedule. Threw a lot of picks too. Everything's off schedule, but his arm allows him. Go back and watch the highlight. I mentioned it the other day. There's like 7 minutes. You can go find it on YouTube of Favre versus Aaron Rodgers. The first Vikings-Packers game. At least it was the first one in Minnesota, but it was the first one after Favre returned to Minnesota since he left Green Bay and becomes the Vikings quarterback. It's Monday Night Football. Those guys are throwing rockets all over the place. Throws that allow them to be a little more off schedule, maybe to throw even if they didn't anticipate it, to beat a defender to a place where the defender knows you're going. Maybe they can not be as disciplined with their eyes. Maybe they can not be as disciplined with their feet and still make throws. So even if I accept that those velocity numbers are correct, and maybe they are, I've seen Mahomes make up for things that are more challenging for Brock. So, if you think I'm wrong and you think I'm wrong, I'm just telling you, I think he has to be, he just has to be better at some really fundamental things than guys with stronger arms have to be. So that's my response to that. I don't know if that answers that, but that information there does not reflect accurately what I think not just what I see. I want to go beyond the eye test. The way defenses talk about, like what defenders say matters, right? Like you listen to what those Ravens guys, and I don't think that was Brock's whole story. Brock's better than the guy he was against the Ravens, I believe. But, those guys felt like if we get to the spot, that's going to be enough. And they don't say that about Mahomes. Delta Bravo ID, speaking of Nick Wright, says that dude is hyper-focused on Purdy. Why do you think that is? Why do we think he's hyper-focused on Purdy? Because it's good business. Same here. But it's not, to me, the thing about Brock is it's not empty business. Like, it's not BS. Oh, talking about Brock just playing the same old tired. I actually think with Brock, it is a very interesting, and with a lot of quarterbacks, it is so interesting to follow his career, and it's still very early in it, and figure out what is it that he's going to be, because the story's not written yet. But also, it's a thing that everybody loves talking about. The Niners are a huge deal. Brock is a huge deal. Kyle is a huge deal. They're one of the best teams in the league, and the league is a huge deal. So, and I also think we're constantly getting new Brock debate material just because there's always a new game and we just don't have that much material on him. Karen says, the goalposts just keep moving for Brock. Herbert, Allen, Lamar have not even been to a Super Bowl. They get passes. Kirk has $400 million for one playoff win. I actually think the goalposts move for all these guys. And goalpost, when people use that phrase, they move the goalpost. It's often used as an example of something that's unfair, which I don't think is the case. I don't think it's unfair necessarily when it comes to quarterbacks, because what happens, it's just like if you're 25 years old, you just got a job at a company, you're working in the mailroom, and there's a certain standard for you. And then you get a promotion, and now you're a member of the sales team, and guess what? The standard changes. And then you become the regional sales manager, and guess what? The goalposts move again. The standard changes. And then they move you to corporate HQ, and you're overseeing a whole region, and guess what? Goalposts move. Then you become the VP of something, and goalposts move again. Your salary goes up. The number of people you're responsible the number of people you're responsible for increases, and what you do has a bigger impact on the company, and the goalposts move. The goalposts have moved for Lamar. They have moved for Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen was like, yeah, nailed the pick. What a pick. Incredible pick by Brandon Beane. And then it's like, well, can he win a Super Bowl? Goalposts move. You get paid $260 million. Goalposts move. So the goalposts move all the time. It doesn't mean it's unfair. Brock, he was picked 262. Holy shit. This guy's an incredible success. Okay. If we're going to stop talking about 262, which we shouldn't, but if we're going to stop talking about it, guess what? Goalpost move. Is he the starting quarterback for the 49ers? Yes. Okay. Goalpost move. Should they try to get a better quarterback, or is he good enough? No, he's good enough. Okay. Goalpost move. Is he worth $260 million bucks, or is he worth $60 million? Let's see. If he gets paid that much money, goalposts are going to move again in 3 years because he's not going to have all these guys around him. So can he carry a team? So goalposts do move. That I agree. But I don't think where I disagree, Karen, is I don't think Kirk Cousins gets plenty of criticism. Lamar Jackson gets plenty of criticism. Josh Allen and Justin Herbert get plenty of criticism. So, and by the way, there is a fair and ongoing debate about whether Josh Allen can win a Super Bowl. I think he can. I don't know if he will. There's a fair and ongoing debate about Justin Herbert. Can he really be a championship level quarterback? We'll find out. I think he can, but he hasn't yet. So I would ask that we don't look at goalposts moving. Now, there are other situations where saying the goalposts move, like, hey, that was unfair. That's true. But in this case, the goalposts move as the ceiling goes higher, says Jay Tan. Yeah, I agree. I jump to conclusions, Matt. Sir Imperial says a big arm doesn't equal winning a Super Bowl. Just ask Dan Marino. Yeah, Dan almost did it. His first year, never did it. But he was a great quarterback. He was a Hall of Fame quarterback. It's true. Big arms don't guarantee you anything either. They are just a quality that helps you either maximize other qualities or make up for other deficiencies. But they can only do so much. Like if you can't process at all, then the strongest arm in the world doesn't help you. You know, but it's all like building a player on a video game. It's like, okay, he's got 98 arm and 65 processing speed. That's probably not, it's going to suck. It's not good enough. All right, 97 arm and 83 processing speed. Oh, is that good enough? I don't know. Okay, 95 arm and 88 processing speed. Oh, that guy might be better, probably will be, actually not might be, is better than bigger arm, less processing speed. So what's Brock? We don't know. Is Brock 96 processing speed? He's not a 78 arm, but he might be a 85 arm. Is his processing and accuracy numbers going to be 98, 99? They're going to be high enough to make up or to help or to whatever? So far, yes. Don't quote me on all those percentages there. I might need to streamline those. Brock Purdy is younger than Jordan Love. Think about that for a second. There was a ESPN, no, the Athletic, I think today, did a thing. They're like all under 25 team. And they surveyed 12 executives or something. And Jordan Love came in 11th and Brock Purdy came in 12th or something like that. You're like, oh, I don't know. Brock behind Jordan Love, which is not surprising. I said the other day, if you let the whole league draft, they would draft Jordan Love ahead of Brock. And then you look and you go, Brock is almost a full year younger than Jordan Love. Sean says, folks are just moving the goalpost on Brock, still hearing the same old stuff. Is he even a top quarterback? Such an old argument. I disagree that it's an old argument. I think we live in this world where you have heard the opinion, you have had the debate with your friends, you've watched a bunch of shows, like we've done hours and hours and hours and hours of content, right? Both people who do it like me and people who maybe don't do content but just talk sports like you, Sean. And you're like, I'm tired of it. This is old. A year and a half or 2 years, it's not old. It's not in the grand scheme of, do we get to find out if you're a franchise quarterback or not? I mean, just think about if we had this conversation about Colin Kaepernick after a year, we'd be like, I mean, we did have this conversation. Like, yeah, this guy's a franchise quarterback. Then it turned out he wasn't a franchise quarterback. He couldn't get better. He couldn't maintain. Defenses changed, adjusted to him. He wasn't able to adjust back. There would have been a time where you thought, who's another example? I mean, even Kirk's an example early on. You're like, what's this guy's trajectory? And then it just kind of flattened off. It never got to the next level, but it still stayed at a pretty incredible level. Do you keep improving? Do you stack on it? You know, nobody after Brady's first Super Bowl would have thought Brady would have become what he became. You didn't at that time. You didn't know his trajectory, and it just kept going up and up and up year after year after year. So, you know, I don't think it's the same old stuff. I think there's still a lot to be proven. I think he's proven a lot. There's still a lot to be proven. And if, you know, anytime that sounds like it's too critical or it's offensive to Brock, it's like, no, there's like 4, 5, 6 people get to be in this club at a given time. You know, the guys that can like carry a team. And by the way, you don't have to be the guy that carries the team to be good enough to win a Super Bowl. And also, by the way, Patrick Mahomes is good enough to carry a team, right? And still, they had one. It was Patrick Mahomes plus maybe the best defense of the league that won them a championship last year. It wasn't Mahomes. There's no Mahomes by himself, just like there was never Michael Jordan by himself or Magic Johnson by himself or Tom Brady by himself or Bill Belichick by himself. There's never any carry the team by yourself thing. Now, Mahomes, the thing that Mahomes did do, which Mahomes gets credit for being the carrier, is you look up at the offense, you go, who are his receivers? How did they do that? But still, the combination of it all is what wins you a championship. Kurt says, if you want me to watch your video, a thumbnail with Nick Wright in it isn't the way to do it. And yet, here we are, Kurt. Oh, look at this. Is perfect. Sean, the person who said, I'm tired of the debate, said, I'm an Iowa State alum. I've been debating Brock for years now. But you've been pro Brock the whole time. Okay, good. So you have been. Steve-O asked, what's your shoe game? If you think you wear New Balance and wear Vans, I can't bet on your football eye, LOL. I have no Vans and I have no New Balances. Actually, I see New Balances and Vans on other people, and I'm like, that. Some of them look good. For me, when I then put them on, they don't work for me. So I went to Oregon yesterday, and I went to USC the day before to practice. I had a pair of Nike Sakai's on. I couldn't go. I wear a lot of Ultra Boost is usually my go-to. Adidas Ultra Boost is mostly, if you bump into me, I'm probably wearing Ultra Boost. But a few years ago, I went to Oregon practice with my buddy Jeff Schwartz, who played at Oregon, and I was wearing Adidas, and people gave me shit for it. Like, so I was Jeff was the one wearing Adidas, and like he really got shit for it. I got like splash zone. I was in the splash zone of the shit that he got. He got most of the shit. I was in like the third row of the splash zone. So I was like, I'm wearing Nikes when I go to Oregon this time. So I got the Sakai's on. I got a few different Ultra Boosts that I keep clean. So anyway, I don't know. There's that answer for whatever reason. Where were the hot takes today? Were these hot takes? I don't know. See, I knew this would happen. That's okay. I'm okay with it. I went to this eyes wide open. Saying Brock Purdy's arm is not Mahomes' arm. It's not a hot take. And it doesn't mean I don't think Brock. I am pro Brock Purdy. That's the other thing. I'm pro Purdy. I think he can do it. I'm not saying he can't do it. My take on Brock is not that he can't do it. My take on Brock is if you're looking to be able to say he has proven that he is, you know, $60 million a year, there's no more debate. It's just too early to say that. And I would say that if it were anybody, just about any Stroud, too early on Stroud, I say yes. I say yes. Iceman says, I'm tired of the BA saga. Just like Guy is probably tired of me criticizing his movie takes. I hate to tell you, Iceman, but I'm not tired of it. I'm okay. I said I didn't like the Wolverine movie. Lucy's Power Hour says, how much do you think the UCL hurt his arm last year? Well, it wasn't fully healthy. He was still doing quote unquote rehab stuff until October. So I think what hurt his arm more is just not getting the whole offseason to just be the quarterback of the 49ers, which he has gotten this offseason. And that's why I expect him to be better. Most people have Brock in the top 10, says Jay King. I think most people do have Brock in the top 10. I do. I've got him like 8th. That's pretty good. That's excellent. That's really good. DRS, how does the defense look under Sorensen, Staley? Under Sorensen, I'm not going to get into that today, but I do want to get into that at some time soon because I think Nick Sorensen is one of the biggest X factors in the NFL this year. I will be at Niners practice Friday. What I'll be watching for on Friday, Jacob Cowing. The 49ers receivers have a problem. They're not that deep in terms of guys ready to contribute. Can Jacob Cowing come on strong in the next 2 weeks? It's going to be tough, but can he come on really strong in the next 2 weeks and make himself into a guy that actually is ready to contribute right away? We'll see. As for Diana Rossini's report today that Trent Williams and the Niners have, quote unquote, no significant movement on contract talks as Williams seeks a reworked deal. Okay. I mean, my guess is if we sat around and guessed how much guaranteed money Trent Williams wants right now, that we would be too low. Feel like, I don't know, Trent wouldn't be asking for 3 years guaranteed, would he? Like, I don't know. Would he? I think he might. Feel like, you know what? Trent's probably asking for like another year guaranteed. I'd go, I bet he's asking for 3. I bet he's asking for a lot more guaranteed money than you think. That'd be my thing with him. It's like, take whatever number you think it is and like triple it. Oh, should I double it? Nah, I'd triple it. So anyway, I know when I do a discussion like this, I open myself to the arrows. I can take it. I'm not worried about it. I want to do something. I don't know if I'll be able to do it today. No, I ain't got it today. The Oregon football practice I went to, they looked good. Dylan Gabriel looked sweet. Deuce Robinson, USC, for those of you people, he also looked good the other day. But Oregon is huge. I don't think Oregon's overhyped. Oregon's going to have a lot of hype. They're not overhyped. I'm going to be calling Oregon's first game. If you want to watch the Ducks or you want to watch me or you want to watch both, Big Ten Network on August 31st, I will be calling that game on Big Ten Network. Calling it meaning like doing the play-by-play. And I can't wait. So that's why I went to practice this week. And yeah, I'm fired up for college football and the NFL. All right. So that's that. I hope I said what I wanted to say cogently. You never know. You just take your shots. Appreciate y'all being here. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And a reminder about the biggest pro football contest in Vegas. It's back. Circa Survivor and Circa Million, up to $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Circa Million is $6 million in guaranteed prizes. If you're going to Vegas for the Niner Raider game next week, stop by Circa Sports and sign up for one of these contests. $1,000 per entry. The Circa Million is a fun one because you do 5 games per week against the spread, and then the best, whoever does the best at the end wins $1 million. And then there's also quarterly and season long prizes. Last place gets $100,000. But that's one you could pick four buddies and each of you split the entry fee, and then each of you make a pick that week. You could do it that way if you wanted. There's also Circa Survivor, $10 million guaranteed to the winner or winners. That's one entry a week. That's also $1,000 to join. It's one entry a week. You pick straight up, not against the spread. You can't use the same team twice. So there's a lot of strategy there. And you go 20-0, or you're the last person standing. And you either win it all if you're the last one, or maybe you split the pot last year. The 4 winners split $9.2 million, which is $2.3 million each, made it the largest legal football contest in history. You enter in Nevada, either in Reno or in Vegas. And again, Niners Raiders is next Friday in Vegas. Or in Vegas, you get signed up with a proxy there, and then you play from anywhere For more information, visit circasports.com and click on contest at circasports.com and click on contest. All right. That's that for this. I got some